Welcome to Big Boy Crypto, the people's channel, home of the BitSquad, the largest and greatest crypto community in all of the interwebs. My name is DZ. You can also catch me at NFT Alpha Show. We come to you Monday through Friday at 5:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the best panel that we've ever had in the history of the show, talking about your favorite topics. And we're going to get right into it. On the top right, he made the prediction of all predictions last week. We're going to let him get into it when we do the market recap. It's Gareth Soloway, some of the strongest TA in the game. Then on the bottom right, we got the blockchain Crusader. He's not in the crusades. He's just crusading for freedom and self-sovereignty. Then on the bottom left, don't let the beard fool you. And then on the bottom left, we have Crypto Keeper. And we're still waiting for that guitar solo. Maybe today's the episode it happens. Then on the top left, first time on the show, I'm a big fan. I used to watch him for all the low cap alts. They asked me to describe your channel. I said, he's the king of that sub 5 million market cap to 50 million market cap. That's right. It's Martini Guy with the double at, because you know what? He's bringing a double dose of knowledge to all these people. But appreciate you being on the show, man. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin Miami. Huge crypto conference. Probably going to be the largest one so far ever to ever happen. Then also we have Elon buying a fat, juicy portion of Twitter. What's going to happen with that? This is going to be an interesting story as it unfolds. And Ledger shaking hands with Sandbox. That's right. They're teaming together. It's the alliance that we maybe needed. I know some Bored Ape members could definitely use it. But all right, before we get into the topics, we are going to talk about the broader market crypto caps. And I kind of brought it up earlier. Gareth, you made a really good call. We have Bitcoin. It's down, just 1/3%. We're not really, I kind of want to refresh just to check that. Yeah, trading pretty close to even. Now, just real quick, I kind of want to look at the chart. Now, Gareth, he's going to have the God charts and all that stuff. But Gareth, a week ago, you made a call. It ended up looking pretty smart. In retrospect, if you kind of want to walk us through what you were predicting and how everything kind of played out there?
Yeah, it's really the power of the charts, right? So last week when we were on,
Wait. Are you saying the power of the charts will compel you?
That's right. Absolutely. Right. But yeah, so we came right into the 200 moving average. You have this parallel channel. So you had these two levels coinciding. Anytime in TA, when you have two levels that coincide around the same price point, that's going to be double the resistance. In this case, if it was support, it would be double the support. And that basically told us that Bitcoin was going to take a breather. And again, it's now a matter of, well, what is it doing? Well, right now we've seen the pullback off of it. It came into this little bit of support right here, bounced off of it. And the question now is, do we break to the upside or do we break to the downside? And again, that's something I'm watching. Now, you do have a little bit of a bearish consolidation pattern, but I do think that the Miami Bitcoin conference coming up, usually you see a pump around these things. So it kind of puts it in the situation of, it wouldn't overly surprise me if we were to see some upside in the near term, even with the bearish pattern. So I think that for the most part, you're into resistance here. You're just off of it. But I think, again, we could easily see a move in either direction over the next week, and it'll be interesting to see.
All right, if we close a daily above that line, are you saying we're out of the woods? Or are you saying, maybe we need to hit another level before you feel safe?
No, if you get above that level, so if we go back to the chart here, and if we see this level, right? So if you were to establish yourself above the level, not just for a day, right? A day close, I've seen institutions do that, and they fake out individual investors, and then they rip it down again. So what you want to see is like kind of a multi-day close above, essentially establishing that level as being support versus resistance. If you get that, then I do think you go to about the 52,000 level, maybe even higher.
Okay, and we just had a show note. Gareth's monitors are off. Is that a sign? I don't know. Is the candles like falling below the screen, hitting your floor here? All right, well, let's talk a little Bitcoin Miami. It's a huge conference. I'm going to be there. Ben's there, flying there now, checking into his hotel, I think just a little bit ago. But it's taking place the 6th through the 9th in Miami. Nice. Huge speakers are going to be there. I know on the 7th, personally, I'm looking forward to seeing President Bukele and Michael Saylor, I believe, are doing a chat together. Pomp is talking to someone tomorrow. Nick Carter, Alan Black, Cynthia Lummis, I think, is with Mike Novogratz, who I think is doing the keynote fireside with Pomp. So a lot of really good talks there. It's going to be a lot of people, over 80 different speakers, over 6,000 industry leaders, over 4,000 companies making an appearance there, seeing tons and tons of action. And last year, there was the big announcement of, El Salvador making Bitcoin legal tender. There's whispers and rumors a even bigger country is going to make a similar announcement. I don't know. I've been hearing I don't even want to speculate on what I have heard, but it is kind of what people are saying now. Keeper, is there anything in particular you're looking forward to? Is it maybe this mystery announcement? And if so, who do you think is going to announce Bitcoin as a legal tender if someone does?
Well, the word on the street has been, as I've had my ear down to it, has been that Apple is going to make some sort of an announcement. But again, this is always, just 100% speculation. People like to take a Twitter post and analyze the heck out of it. The CEO of Stripe, I can't think of what his name is, but he ultimately did a video the other day, basically flicking off the Chase ATM, and he had on like an old school Apple hat, and that was like in a tweet. And so people are speculating that that Apple is going to have some sort of an announcement. Now, I will say, if Apple makes an all-out, announcement that they are holding Bitcoin on their balance sheet, ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin is going to pump, pump, pump. Gareth, you can throw your charts out the window because it is going to pump. But as a whole, the Bitcoin conference is all about relationships. I'm going there looking to meet up with everybody, sit down, talk crypto, and just overall have some freaking fun. I know Miguel and I are going to have some fun down there. I've got some big plans with some other people. Rented a Lambo just because. It's gonna be a good time.
All right. Now, Martini Guy, and I'm not saying this any kind of disparaging. I just like to give people an idea where you came from. You were working at a grocery store as recently as like 5 years ago, correct? Just slowly stacking your sats.
So I can correct you on that one. It was not a grocery store. I actually used to work in the oil and gas industry selling oil valves to like BP and Shell and stuff like that. But while I was working there and convincing these people to invest in a Bitcoin mine, which they never did, which was the stupidest thing ever, I used to have a normal job, very low in paying, but then altcoins kind of changed that for the long term. Altcoins are, from my perspective, what people tend to have the most amount of success with in cryptocurrency, whereas you can trade and you can risk your money and you can leverage yourself and you can trade with that. But I think for the long term, altcoins tend to be the best bet. It's what I found the most success with. I guess we could talk over some of the ones that
let's wrap it together here. Do you think like something like a Bitcoin conference is a good place to find those up and coming alts? Because it was at a Bitcoin conference where Vitalik first gave a speech outlining Ethereum. Yeah. And if so, like what strategy would you use? Would you just talk to people? Would you pick up all the pamphlets? Would you see who's wearing what shirt? How do you find the altcoin gems in a Bitcoin conference?
I have actually found so many gems at conferences. Conferences are the best place. I don't know if Miami's could be the best place because it will be very expensive to get a stand at Miami. Just from like a logical perspective, you're going to already have very well-funded projects that are there. So it might be that they already have tokens that are already circulating and things like that. Your actual gems, I would say you find the most gems at the smaller conferences. For example, but saying that, no, that's not necessarily true. An amazing gem that I once found was, I won't say the name of the coin, but I found it at Consensus in 2019. And I would say that you find the best gems in the worst market situations. We're not in an amazing market situation right now. So when you're finding projects that look really cool, you tend to find a lot of them at these conferences because they're there to pitch their coin to you. It's not actually the best form of marketing for these coins. Like you don't get to meet a whole lot of people. But I mean, there's only so many people that you can pitch your project to. So projects tend to find them useful actually after they've been there. But it's very interesting for the average individual to see actually what people are building. It's good to get an overall market view over kind of what is the most popular thing in the space, and then tend to probably avoid that thing because it's the thing that's coming just around the corner that's going to do the best.
All right.
Yeah, that's
all right. Well, I know I'm going to keep my ear to the ground, try to find some low cap gems for you. But Blockchain Crusader, let's continue talking about gems. Not Jim Halpert, not Jimmy Carter. When it comes to speakers, is there anybody that you're really looking forward to speak at this Bitcoin conference? And 3 bonus points if their name is Jim or James.
There's not a specific person that I'm looking for. I honestly, Cynthia Loomis, if I had to pick one, would be just because of the fact that she's a senator here in the United States of America and bringing, that forward. She's called for a Bitcoin standard before. in the United States Congress. So she's bringing a lot of attention to people in politics in the United States to not be left behind compared to the rest of the world. And like you were asking Crypto Keeper Nick, right, about other countries adopting Bitcoin, she needs to, and she has been putting a big emphasis on Bitcoin and its adoption in the United States, because it's just a matter of time before another country or an array of smaller countries begin to adopt Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies into their economy, and the United States is just getting left behind more and more every single day, that we don't have either clear and good regulation for cryptos in general. At this rate, we might see Russia starting to accept the Bitcoin before we see the United States coming out with any clear regulation. We have the EU coming out with tons of regulation for crypto. Maybe not the best, trying to strip away a lot of privacy from its users, but nonetheless, they're putting out something there for their people.
All right, and I keep getting mesmerized by your ring light on your Bitcoin poster. I keep thinking it's the fear and greed index, and like, we're heading back into fear. That's when I like to buy. All right, now let's move on to Elon taking a nice slice of Twitter. Elon just bought 9.2% of Twitter here. Let's look at some of the numbers. 73 million shares, $2.89 billion. This comes after he's had discussions talking about, is Twitter, public speech? Is this the town hall forum of our time? Is it, a First Amendment violation if we, remove that speech from somebody? He's been definitely pro First Amendment, pro freedom of speech when it comes to, these big tech giants and the social media, the reach that they do have. But let's talk the price first. Now, Gareth, I know in the opening bell, huge pump. Did it continue? Did it consolidate? I mean, is this 25? It was 25 or so percent pump at one point. Is it worth it? I mean, what do you see Twitter stock doing? What chart is that? Is that the daily? Ouch. I mean, it has to go up, right? From there.
It's ouch for most. It's ouch for most investors, unless you're Elon Musk, and then the news. You just basically made yourself a few $100 million by announcing that you were in this position. I mean, you could see Twitter was definitely suffering. If you zoom out on the chart, way down off of 52-week highs, it was trading up a little bit here, and then a huge pop today. This is the daily 200 moving average, though. So my guess is it's kind of it's a one and done. It probably consolidates for a little while, but even regardless of the chart, I think it's important for us to realize, number one, big money makes money, right? So when word that you got in a position makes you an automatic 27%, that's pretty awesome. Not all of us have that type of power, that's for sure. In addition, I think it's important to recognize that at this point, it's less than 1% of his net worth, right? So he's having fun. If I were him, I'd be doing the same thing. You got that much money? Yeah, buy 10% of Twitter, have some fun. And then now I feel like he thinks he can probably have a voice if like Twitter ever removes one of his posts that they don't like or that violates their rules. It's going to be this huge news story, as he'll probably go off on a tangent. So it's going to make for fun news for us. I think all of us that are spectators, we can sit back and enjoy the show.
All right. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be enjoying it. It's one of the best Twitter accounts, I would say. Now, Martini Guy, he's definitely pro free speech, and he's definitely against, deplatforming people and, taking away their voice. Is that possible on Twitter with so many scams and replies? And I brought it to you because, you have a pretty large following, and, I'm trying to catch up to you. I'm baby steps, baby. But, you do a post. I get the same issue. Ben definitely gets the same issue. The panels, all the panelists, I'm sure we have this issue. You do some sort of post. You just have the word Bitcoin in there, or MetaMask, or Ethereum, and scammers come out the woodworks. They start flooding your replies. I mean, how do we differentiate? Jeez, there. Look, obviously I'm not going to say anything, but how do we differentiate, who's a scam, who's not a scammer? It is free speech. It isn't free speech. I mean, does it have to be Wild West, or is there some sort of middle ground we can navigate here?
From my perspective, there is a bit of a charm about crypto, being that it is still the Wild West on Twitter, very much. But at the same time, it has to change, and I think that this is part of the reason for it. If you look on, Elon probably doesn't have enough to buy any kind of controlling stake in Google. He doesn't have enough to buy any controlling stake. Maybe he could even Facebook, but ultimately, Twitter is the cheapest one out of the lot. And Twitter is also the one where he has the biggest social platform. And it's also the one where he has the most impersonators. So if you're thinking about it from a point of view of, look, I want to buy this platform to make a change to this platform, to improve this platform, I get the feeling that that's what he's doing. He doesn't need to pump his following. Ultimately, I think he's one of the most followed, if not the most. No, he's not probably. I don't know if he's the most followed, but he's certainly up there with the top ones. He's got lots of followers, as Elon. But
yeah, I
we
believe
all
number
know
one is
Elon
Barack Obama, I believe, or at least used to be, and Elon could be number 2. Let me know in the chat if I'm right with that.
Yeah, that's it. Comments in the chat, they're always good on these streams. But at the same time, yeah, of course, I think that Elon is doing this very much from a reputational saving point of view, because he's been in trouble with Twitter in the past, hasn't he? He's been in trouble for saying things that he shouldn't say. But ultimately, I guess if you on the playground, can you really be in trouble for upsetting the children inside the playground? I guess no, I don't know.
That's
Either
I'm
it's
not going to navigate that scenario that you created. You know, I still have to speed by the elementary schools, but that's another story. Of course, we're joking. Now, Blockchain Crusader, do you think he's trying to crusade his way into a hostile takeover, a not so hostile takeover? Do you think he wants to become the de facto, maybe not CEO in name, but you know, the controlling force behind Twitter? You think that's his master plan here?
Yeah, the Doge father himself, right? Just wants to keep on pumping Doge and Shiba instantly after getting onto Twitter. But I mean, honestly, if he was really for freedom of speech, investing all that money into Twitter, I understand the viewpoints of fixing the system from within itself, but it's not gonna go that way. I think there's enough control behind Twitter that he's not gonna have any real say in things, except for his own benefit, right? Where he won't be getting in trouble, like Martini Guy said. If he was really for freedom of speech, I think he would be creating his own decentralized platform and using his name and brand to push people over there and have the actual driving factor to maybe steal some market share from these massive tech companies in of itself. That's what, if you're really about freedom of speech, that's what you would be doing with a person with his status and his money, is what they should be doing, not buying into Twitter. That's just a self-interest kind of thing.
Okay. All right. Fair point. A fair point. Now, Crypto Keeper, when it comes to this, you're a shareholder. You got a little Twitter stock. You bought it on Robinhood with all the meme stocks, 2 years ago. Do you see this as a positive or a negative for the company? I mean, obviously we went up 27%. That's an obvious positive, but long term, 6 months out, 1 year out, is this good or bad for Twitter?
I know it's good for Elon Musk. I mean, anything the man tweets about or talks about turns, heads up and to the right. And so I think that he knows in advance. I think it's almost set up as an unfair. I mean, it's an unfair game that he's playing, right? He a couple days ago was talking bad about Twitter, talking about the censorship, talking about the other things that we were just talking about, full well knowing there's no way he just woke up this morning or yesterday or whatever the day was and said, you know what, I think I'm going to buy 10% stake in Twitter. No, this is a business transaction that's been going on in the background for a while. And you can't look, I just don't know how they're able to get away with some of this, because you cannot look at the fact that he is able to manipulate the price downward and then wait a few days. Prices are down. Hey, let me make this announcement today and 25, get a 25% pump on my bags. It's like pumping his, meme coins. I don't know. I think it'll be good for Twitter. Everything that Elon Musk seems to touch is, doing really well. So I think it will be good, but I don't know. I just get irritated with some of the, they say the rich get richer, and that's fine, right? Capitalism at its best, I'm all about it. But I think that this is very obvious that this is, manipulation with, as it relates to, dollars and cents.
All right, to play devil's advocate to the last two people, it was a SEC filing. It's a mandatory legal paperwork that it does have to be, registered with the proper authorities. Not so much, just randomly announce it. And two, I think it may be more advantageous to make Twitter more pro free speech rather than build up something from the ground that might not, reach the same numbers.
But you can't say it just came up though. He knew about it is what I'm saying. He didn't just flippantly announce it. He knew coming up that this was going to be happening soon, right? And
but you can make an argument he wasn't suppressing. I don't know. But Barack Obama number 1, Justin Bieber number 2, Katy Perry number 3, Rihanna number 4, Elon is number 6, just after Ronaldo. So thank you, Sharp Claw, in the comments there. All right, let's talk a little Ledger and Sandbox. I would not have guessed Katy Perry. That was hit that like button if you didn't expect Katy Perry to be number 3 there. All right, Ledger teaming up with Sandbox, is a French crypto wallet maker. Sandbox, of course, the popular Ethereum metaverse game, joining forces. Ledger's going to have its own real estate within the Sandbox metaverse. They're going to, I guess, try to educate people about ledgers. Maybe you could have some sort of storefront there that, can link you to buying it. This is a long-term partnership. They got new things. Let's see, Sand currently right now about 330 a coin. So congrats to all those people that bought it, early, year and a half, 2 years ago. Now, Martini Guy, do you think this is going to have any kind of positive impact on Sandbox? I mean, Sandbox, they make partnerships. Okay, Adidas came in. We see a little bit of a pump, but do people really care about Ledger being there? Does that really get people excited?
I want to start out this by saying Sandbox was one of my worst ever mistakes to sell. I sold all of my Sandbox at 32 cents. So that sucks. But I also acquired a lot of land back then and forgot to sell that. And that all went up in value, which was great. Is a partnership. Partnerships are short term, but ultimately partnerships, if you think them like what's the best way to say it that's family friendly? When you fire something out of a chamber, out of a stick, and it goes pow, 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 that's what a partnership is in terms of crypto sense. When you keep firing these things out and that keeps on sticking. So each one, if you think of it as you're trying to keep that engagement going, every partnership is an increase in engagement. So you announce a partnership, it increases engagement, then it decreases over time because naturally people stop caring. And then you announce another one. And all you're trying to do is fish from different farms to find new audiences that are interested in your product. So I would say that partnerships are great for cryptocurrencies, but they have to keep making them. You can't stop. But Sandbox are amazing at they constantly they did Snoop Dogg last time, didn't they? And then I can't remember which ones before that. But Sandbox have been making partnerships so long, and they're all like tier 1 partnerships. So as far as I'm concerned, Sandbox is a really good hold for the future, and it's one of the ones that I was so early in it as well, so early, and I sold it, and I kick myself every day for that. But yeah, that's,
all right.
that's
Yeah,
my answer to that
no,
question.
that's a good point with the slow drip of information. We saw it successful with Bored Apes, Yuga Labs purchase, Ape Coin drop, and then merch that you could then buy with the Ape Coin. I think that all happened in about a 4-week span. Nothing really leading up to it. It was just boom, here's news, boom, here's news, boom, here's news. And we see it reflecting in the price today. So Blockchain Crusader, do you think that this sponsorship is just kind of a, an advertisement vehicle for maybe both, or kind of like Martini Guy said, just raise hype a little bit? Or do you think there will actually be real utility in the future? I mean, I don't know how that would look. I mean, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think this partnership is important, not just for awareness of Ledger, but it's about education. And Ledger understands that once you educate crypto users about security, about safety, about how to protect your assets, they instantly jump off exchanges, they jump off MetaMask, and they begin buying their product, the hardware wallets, right? I believe they're coming out with a new hardware wallet that's just for NFTs, or is designed to hold NFTs. This is very important. We've seen people lose their Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs in the past due to scams, due to hacks, whatever it is. So education is very important. Ledger understands this. Ledger understands that using Sandbox, with the amount of attention that's on there for the people in the metaverse, in all the assets that they're going to be holding inside the Sandbox, they can use Ledger to protect all their assets and continue to grow, right? And it's a profitable business for them. And at the same time, it's profitable and good for the community that are involved in crypto, because there's a lot of people in the NFT space that don't know a lot about crypto and don't know a lot about security. So Ledger is bridging this with the partnership with Sandbox. So I think it's very good for the space overall.
Yeah, I think the education would be good. You go inside their metaverse, it's just going to be like 2017 and Antonopoulos videos just playing on repeat, All right, now, Gareth, we have this. That's for you old school people. All right, we have this partnership. Yeah, 2017 is old school. We see it in corporate America, right? You see, you have publicly traded company A teams up with publicly traded company B. Both shares rise, 13%, 5%. But what does it look like, 3 months down the line, 1 month down the line, 1 year down the line? Is that usually seen as a short pop that you can sometimes short? Or is this, usually it will hold that as the new normal?
Yeah, so initially it's the initial excitement, right? The excitement amongst investors gets them to buy in, gives you that pop. And then usually what happens is it fades after that. So you get people that say, okay, the news is over. At this point, I'm going to kind of take profits. I'm going to sit on the sidelines. And then really what investors do, and I'm sure they'll do this in this case, is they're going to start looking for the meat and potatoes, right? They're going to look, what is this generating? Is it really adding value? And then that's where the next rise can potentially come if there really is significant value added. So in the beginning, you get that great pop. I mean, just like with Twitter, great news. Everyone's excited about Elon Musk buying in. Then what usually happens is it fades. And then can Elon Musk add value to Twitter as a company that could drive it higher later on? So the same thing probably applies.
Okay, and I will say this, and Gareth probably echo the sentiment. The longer the party goes on, the worse the hangover that next morning. So, but 27%. I mean,
We've all been
2022. Who knows what's going on with that? Would have been insane, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Now, Crypto Keeper. Let's talk about Sandbox as a whole. Do you see Sandbox being, the preeminent, metaverse? Are they going to win? Is this what we're going to have our Ready Player One moment on in the future? What do you see as the number one metaverse?
You know what? I don't think we've seen it yet. I think that there's a lot of companies. So I think that they're a dime a dozen right now. I will say that. I think Sandbox right now is definitely the premier metaverse. But I think that people are going to gravitate towards more of a realistic version. And I think that Sandbox, at least as it is right now, is very blocky. It's very gamey. And so I think that as we get farther and farther into this realistic thing that we call the metaverse, people are going to be looking for, hey, can I do this on my 8K TV? Do I actually feel like I'm in here? When you put on an Oculus and play some of the games, they still look like a game. And I think that that's going to change. I think that as the technology gets better and better, and I've already seen some of it that is, people are going to gravitate more and more towards that, because let's be fair, the metaverse is fun and it's cool and it's hip or whatever. But at the end of the day, people are trying to make a business out of this. And the more that you can make it feel real and not like a video game, I think the transactions will be much smoother. I think that they will be able to put a storefront up. You actually feel like you're walking in, looking at something, let's say Amazon, for example, instead of just looking at it on your phone. Now you can actually walk in somewhere, pick up the product, look at it. And if it's not realistic, then it doesn't really do a ton of good. And I think that that's where this is headed. This is headed towards capitalism again. And I think that the realistic side of things really needs some work. And I think that's where it's going to be headed.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I never really thought about you wear a haptic suit, so then you could look at the clothing on something that might mirror your actual body, and you say, I don't look like that. You better reduce that. I got a belly. What?
Right.
I don't know.
Add some muscles on there. Now you got it. That's right.
Yeah, I am looking forward to, the sleeves for the performance. You can, play video. Oh, you threw a spiral. You didn't throw a spiral. You bricked that free throw, or you actually make the set. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to it. But that is all we got time for, and it looks like Martini Guy, you ended up taking it on your first inaugural episode. Martini Guy, if you have the most points at the end of the episode, you get to leave some parting thoughts, 10, 30 seconds. Tell the people whatever it is you want to share. Leave us with some wisdom.
I think that you should all buy every dip ever. I think that it's important to always buy the dip, and buying the dip is how I've got to where I am today. Ultimately, I started with £700 a few years ago, and I've got a lot more than that now. And it's all from buying the dip. So just keep buying the dip. And I guess follow me on various different social media channels. If I was to push one out of any of them, I'd say follow my new business, which is called Crypto Saving Expert. It's launching in like June this year. But yeah, spent a lot of money on that one. My biggest investment ever. And I hope it all goes very well. So yeah.
All right. He started at the petrol station. Now he's here. That is all we got time for today, BitSquad. Until next time, DZ out, and make sure you check out Meta Money, Frankie Candles, and of course, NFT Alpha Show, and all the guests.